Assalamu alaikum friends, my name is Salman Nasir and my topic for today is intensive and extensive reading. This is very important as far as students are concerned. Reading skills are very important for them because they have to read text, they have to understand text and they have to reproduce text. So these two types of reading are known as intensive reading and extensive reading. You all know that reading is a purposeful activity. There is always a purpose behind reading. So one can be read intensively and two can be read extensively. Let's go with the concept. Intensive reading refers to a focused and thorough approach where the reader analyzes and comprehends the text in detail. It involves close examination of vocabulary, sentence structure, and overall content to extract deep meaning and information. Intensive reading is sometimes called narrow reading. For example, the learners read a short text and put events from it into chronological order. This method is typically used to enhance language skills, develop critical thinking, and extract specific information from a text. So, when we read the definition and concept, we can get idea that it is a reading type that involves the reading of short text but complete information of a text where events are put into chronological order. Chronological order means historical order: one, two, three, first thing to first, second thing to second, third thing to third, and last thing to last. It is basically a classroom activity and it is also called narrow reading in the sense that the reader has to go narrow details and minute details of each and every aspect of reading material. So it is called intensive reading. Intensive reading is done for two purposes. Number one, detailed reading of text. Yes, whether the text is very limited, very short, but it is read in detail. Every part and every aspect is minutely observed, analyzed, read, and reproduced. Number two, in order to extract specific information. We read the text intensively in order to extract specific information from that particular text. So, these were the two major purposes of intensive reading. Intense reading material like reports, notices, contracts, news articles, blog posts, short stories. The material normally in this text are very limited, very short, but also demanding on the part that every minute detail, every simple and minor detail should be in notice by the reader. So the material like reports, notices, contracts, news articles, blog posts, short stories are short it to read but also demands that every information shared in this text should be remembered by the reader. Let's look at intensive reading activities. So, the intensive reading activities are: number one, skimming a text for specific information; number two, to answer true false statement; number three, filling gaps in a summary; number four, scanning a text to match headings to paragraphs; number five, scanning jumbled paragraphs to put them into correct order. You can say that all these activities can become possible if the reader retains the information read by him or her with all minute details like specific information, true false statement, gap filling, match heading to paragraph, jumbled paragraphs, mean disorder sentences, and order them. So, this was all about intensive reading. We have read that what is intensive reading, its purposes, its material, and its activities. Let's move on extensive reading. Let's move forward to extensive reading. Extensive reading is opposite to intensive reading. It involves reading longer texts such as books, magazine, and articles at a comfortable place with the intention of enjoyment and general understanding rather than focusing on intensive analysis of language or vocabulary. So after reading the definition, we can get idea that it is different from intensive reading. The major difference between extensive reading and intensive reading is its size. The intensive reading is too large, too long as compared to intensive reading that is too small, too limited. It is mainly used to help learners to build reading speed and reading fluency, and this is one of the major advantages of extensive reading. because after reading the longer text, the reader can improve two things. One is reading speed, and the other is reading fluency. Extensive reading is done for two major purposes. Number one, build reading speed and reading fluency. Yes, the reader can improve his reading speed and reading fluency by reading extensively. Number two, enjoyment. The reader read extensively for the sake of enjoyment, for the sake of comfort. So these were the two major purposes of extensive reading. Extensive reading materials include magazines. Yes, magazines, novels, comic books, history books, biographies, and autobiographies. The text in these materials are very long, very large, and the text in these materials are very time taking. The text like magazines, novels, comic books, history books, biographies, and autobiographies. We all know that these are heavy books, these are bulky books, and reader reads these text by extensive reading skills. These texts provide them with heavy sitting, heavy material for reading activities. As far as extensive reading activities are concerned, it can use for number one, skim and scan, number two, write book reports and book reviews. For if someone wants to write book reports and book reviews, he or she should thoroughly read the text in order to write book reports. Number three, join book club discussions. And there is again, one should have a great knowledge of text in order to join club discussions. Number four, creative writing, summary and article writing. These are the output of extensive reading activities. If someone is good in extensive reading, he can be a great summary writer and article writer. So this is all about intensive and extensive reading. I hope you would have understand the concept very easily because this is very important and different in nature from one to another. Intensive reading is about short text and extensive reading is about longer text. Both have their advantages, both have their utilities, and both have their important significance, and both have their roles for the reader. So you can reread and you can watch this video again and you can understand the difference between them. Thank you very much for watching.